What's up, everybody? Cinco de Mayo. I don't know what that means, but I think I went cross pollution of my cultures there on that intro. But it is Tony from the Dude Network here at the Dude Cave. We all know that Alyssa's going to be coming here at some point, but hey, folks, get off her ass. We got kids that need to get to bed. It was either her or me. She's a better woman than me. She took that job, so it's going to be me. We're going to have Hankie, Pankie, Arts, Crafts, and Oil, a.k.a. the original dudette herself, my wife, the talented, the one that does all the graphics for all these shows. Excited to get her in here and let everybody pick her brain on how she does her graphics and all that stuff too. We got Ridiculously Good Salsa that's going to be joining us along here at some point here, and we're going to go over her new drink cocktails out of Columbus area, Ohio, Worthington to be more exact. And then we got some other degenerates across the state of Ohio. One is the biggest degenerate I've ever met. I got stuck with him all weekend. His truck sucks and his drive axles are weaker than his soul and his seasonings are actually really good. Brad at Redbeard Seasonings. And this feller, his beard is powerful. It's better than the red-haired beard guys over here. It's amazing. It's luscious. He does mustards. He does sauces. He does shit that'll make you say, what did I just happen in my life that's so great to deserve this flavor that's going on in my mouth? Chris from Branch BBQ.
Yeah.
That was quite the intro.
Did we expect anything less, guys? Come on.
Your intro is better than mine, though, Chris. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When I croak from all the stress, that's what I want you to say at my funeral. You made some kind of good mustard once in a while.
You made me smile with your brat mustard, which we can. Hey, look at this, always on display. Fieldhouse mustard right there.
That's the silver medal winner.
Let's go. Cinco de Mayo fan. This grill life, awesome. Love having that guy on here.
I just want to say that it's actually not Cinco de Mayo today. It's Cinco de Drinko.
Oh, what you got here? What? Okay, wait, dude. All right. I know Brad's got something special. I saw what can he has, and that ain't going to fly, but we're going to change that. We're going to upgrade that here in a minute. So, how the hell we doing, fellas? You know, hey, it's been a hell of a year. Hell of a year so far. A lot of stuff going on. You guys, small businesses, we're up rocking and rolling. Retail scene is almost back to pre-COVID, almost. So you guys are out there hitting the trail, making shit happen. Branch, you're down here at Akron Rubber Ducks, man. Every time there's a double, you see Branch coming across the scoreboard down there at Canal Park. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome scenario to be in. The crazy thing is, like, the first time we went to the stadium, they we were walking through in like the owner's box, we're meeting with all the vendors and stuff, so it was pretty cool. And then my buddy Casey and I, as we're walking through the stadium, we weren't like. It's not like we weren't paying attention. You know how baseball games are, right? They're long, right? So they're in between innings, walking by, and one of the Ducks hit a double, and we heard our name, and we both like dead stopped. And we're like, "Wait, what was that? What was that? What did we just hear our name?" And we missed the first one, which was like ridiculous. It was like terrible that we missed it. Like, we couldn't believe. We sat in the seats, we were all set up, we had cameras ready. Missed the first one, and I was like, "Well, we'll catch the second one." And then they didn't hit another double until the ninth inning. The second to last batter, dude, we were like 9 24-ounce White Claws deep at that point. Like, I think the video looks like a snuff film, like it's all grainy. Like, dude, it's brutal.
So, Brad, babe, big news for you to Redbeard. We got the Wild Game Rub out now. We're out there. We got new labels. New labels. Actually, we got one of them right here, the Street Corn Seasoning. Signed by himself, Brad, number one. First one out of the box of the new label. I got it.
First one out of the box, just for you, bro.
Suck it. Probably the third one. You lied to me, but whatever.
No, it was the first. Swear. So let's
talk about business here. I know we got a lot of joking around to do, but seriously, man, Redbeard's awesome. I love it. We competed with it last weekend, and we competed and placed pretty well for some rookies with some very good cooks with your seasoning last weekend. So, man, I'm proud to rock it. I'm proud to rep it. Tell us about it.
We hit the middle of the pack, which I was not disappointed with, because probably
Friday.
10 out of the 25 teams were professional teams that travel the country and compete. Like they're hitting the circuit every weekend. They're doing KCBS every weekend, chicken, brisket, pork, ribs every weekend. I think that for a bunch of new guys in our circumstance that we did pretty well with what we were given. It was a learning experience, had a lot of fun.
And understood.
Except for since let's just do this. So since you
Are we doing it? Oh, we're doing it.
since you gave me the intro that you did, let's talk about the ride home. So
okay.
They bumped up the award ceremony by like almost 2 hours, which is cool because normally
we're like,
we're gonna be home. I gotta drive an hour back to Tony's house, drop him off, and then I got another 2.5 hours home. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna be home by like 8:30. So we hit the award ceremony. We found out we placed kind of middle of the pack and everything, which we were not disappointed with. We go out, we hop in the truck, we'd already fueled up, ready to go. We're like, all right, let's get home, see the kids, see the family. We get on 821 out of Marietta. We head up, get on 77, and we hit like mile marker 7, and we hear this clunk, 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 clunk.
Brad's like, you got a flat. And I hear that.
I was like,
and I'm like, no.
I was like, I just bought this trailer. These are brand new tires. Like, why do I have a flat on this trailer? So we get off. We get out. We look. We're like, what is this? Like, there's no flat tires. So we get back in the truck, get back on the highway. We get up about not even a mile, dude, and we hear boom, 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 boom. We're like, what the hell is that? So I pull over. We get out. Here's my drive shaft, just like this.
Yeah.
Hanging.
Just
drive
hanging out.
shaft off in the truck.
Dude, that's how my drive shaft looked at about 6 or 7 whiskeys.
Yes, that too. So Tony and I spent like an hour and a half of quality time sitting in the wildflowers on the side of the highway, watching cars go by on 77. And then the tow company was legit. They took care of us, but I just went down yesterday. Tony took me half the way down to get my truck, and we're good now. So, but it was just, we were planning on being home early, and I think I got home like it was almost 1 a.m. So it was terrible, but
it was that. But I tell you one thing I did have. I had something very excited to look forward to give to you to try with and play with today. And that is the new smoked salt, margarita salt,
yes,
and
sir.
The jalapeno margarita mix, which I used on a whiskey sour today.
Right here.
The pretty lady out of Worthington, Ohio, ridiculously good salsa, Vicky North.
Vicky.
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for
Hi,
having
Vicky.
me on the show. It's nice
What's
to
up?
meet you. Chris, we know each other. Yeah,
Yeah, we see each other at Christmas.
we do. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Hey.
It's our
I'm
day.
gonna
Oh, thank you.
I want to do a little something with it here.
That's
in a
what
little
we got right here.
Actually, I want to do something with it right this second. I'm going to go ahead and make my own drink with this new cocktail mixer. It's a spicy margarita, but I'm going to do a little twist with it. I don't have any soda down here with me because we had company. We're going to do a little shot of that. I'm going to do, instead of a salt rim, we got this smoked salt here, which is phenomenal.
It is very good.
I mean,
Thank you.
I just like to put it on my tongue.
That's what I do.
Because America,
I also put it on my steak.
Okay. Sprinkle a little bit in there on the sour.
Now we're talking.
And then we're going to take some of the high, foolproof black cherry bourbon from Cleveland Underground Series. We're going to add a little slap and tickle in there like that. And it's like a little shot. We're not doing a full cocktail here, a little shot. Hey, Cinco de Ohio with some of the coolest Ohioans I met. Nostrovia for the Ukrainians, not for them dirty Russians.
Vicky, that salt is phenomenal.
Oh,
Thank you.
That is a shot. That's a shot, by the way. That's amazing. That was really
I'm
good.
definitely.
It's,
I'm going to have to try
good
it on
stuff.
some steak.
Yeah, we've added it to quite a few things, and it's delicious.
Okay. So, what I like about this setup right here, and poor Alyssa, she's going to be coming here at some point after she gets our kids to go down because they're just like, they knew there was something. You're like, oh, mom and dad have plans tonight.
Oh, they always know.
Oh, yeah, they're sixth senses, little gremlins. So what I like about this setup here is we kind of have the best of like all three facets of the food. We have Brad with the dry blends. We have Chris and Branch with like the sauces, the mustards, like the packaged sauces and condiments, I guess, however you want to describe them. I think anybody that calls Branchero as a condiment needs to be punched in the face. It's a sauce. And then you got Vicky, who handles more like fresh salsa. And then now you got into the cocktail mixer and like you kind of branched off into the cocktail world. So this is like a cool concept. We can kind of cover like all three facets of like mainstream, I guess, like small businesses. I'd say out of the percentage of small businesses in this like food type-ish industry, your three industries cover like 90+% of them, right?
Yeah, I think
With the
so.
exception of cooked food.
I mean, like what else is there? Like, I mean, like someone that designs paper plates. You know, like, hey, I got custom.
You just got my new idea.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
It's smoked
Flavored. It's flavored plates. You don't have to cook.
Yeah,
Just throw it
yeah.
on there.
Edible plates. Edible plates.
You heard it here first on the Dude Network.
Do you remember the old ground round where you can eat the bowl when you're done with the nachos?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, the nacho bowls. It's actually a thing.
This is our
So,
mantra.
What is it? Be good, eat good. All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
So Vicky, we'll start with you. You have like the fresh ingredients. What
Yes.
objections here in Ohio do you have with your like fresh, like distributing your or like expanding and growing your brand that is like a fresh salsa? It's delicious. It's amazing. It's chunky. Like your stuff's like super hot and I still can't get enough of it. And neither can my wife, and that's a compliment.
Thank you.
But what are your objections that you're dealing with, and what do you have to do on your business model to keep growing and pushing in that direction?
Well, I think it's probably the same obstacles that we all face. You know, there's also the labor shortage, getting people to work for you, come in, help. Not just come in and show up, but believe in what we're doing, like who we are, like to dance when you make salsa, all those things that we require. And to, enjoy yourself and have a good time. And that, kind of like that. And then to just, we need those kinds of things to happen. Looking at pricing for ingredients, that seems to, I'm sure you all see this too. Not a week goes by that I don't get, the boxes have increased in prices. We can't get cardboard. We can't get, I can't get the bottles. It's hard to source the bottles. If I need bottles, I need to buy 10,000 today. So I think it's just those kind of obstacles that we're all seeing. But I also think that there's a lot of opportunity to do things differently as well. So we've kind of scaled back some of our plans, and then, we'll go full steam ahead, I think, on the cocktail mixers too. But the fresh salsa is taking off. I am exhausted. We made a lot of salsa this week. And for that, we're thankful for everybody that went out there and said, I want to eat something fresh and I want to eat something good. And if there's leftover, which people tell me there isn't, we have reels that you can go and, figure out what Bloody Mary, shrimp tacos, whatever. So the usual stuff.
Yeah. So before we move on here to Chris, when you say a lot of salsa this week, how many gallons are we talking about, Vicky?
You know what? I'll actually tell you that I don't know, because I'm at the end of it where it's being shipped out, and my husband and my son are more of the gallon people, probably 20 to 30, 60 batches. So plus more for the events. We have 2 events coming up this week, so it would be more than that. So I wish I could tell you that, but ask me a week from today.
Okay, all right. So that's a lot.
A lot.
I was thinking like 10 gallons was like the over-under, but 20 to 30 sounds a lot
Yeah,
cooler.
each batch makes 60 units, and we probably made, 30 to 35 of those.
Yeah.
So, plus
Okay.
that was one day, so there was another day we added in there for production this week. Plus we had we'll go back and make more tomorrow for the events this weekend.
Speaking of banging out
Vic,
production,
When you
Over to
do
you.
when you do these events, Vicky, do you see like is it something where you kind of at this point, like if you're doing this, do you know what to make for what events? Does it vary? Is it something where you're like, oh, it's going to be 55 and raining, and do I need to cut back? Or you say it's going to be 85 and about like, do you have that idea, or you just like throw it together? And it's like what goes goes. Is that because we
Well,
still
that's a good
can't?
question. Yeah. That's a really good question, Chris. And, you know, as somebody who's carrying a fresh product, I don't want a whole lot left over, but we
Right.
do have resources for leftover. So I will always look at the production date and then look
Mhm.
at the dates that I'm going to be there and then say, you know, it's going to be 80 and sunny. I'm there from 9 to 12. And I know the market I'm in and I know what I can sell. And I might run short on something, but then I just give you the slip, tells you go up here and buy it. But when we do have leftover, we drop it off at the local fire department or police department. So not a bad
Hey.
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
But we're just, you know, we're happy to do that. But I just want to try to estimate as good as possible because I'm already going to go to the police department, fire department. We do that several times a year. And so those are, yeah, that's a good question. But a new event, I look at it. I look at their Facebook page, see what they're doing event wise. I'll contact the whoever is the event organizer and say,
Mhm.
what are you showing? What do you see that I don't see? And if they tell me, well, we, you know, we have a lot of interest and people are coming and, you know, a lot of groups and this, that I will make a minimum of like, you know, whatever I decide to look for that area. Like we have a really cool event in Granville on Saturday, never done before. Homestead Brewing Company at Cherry Valley. So it's a sip and shop for, you know, moms. So it's like, come and get your mom.
I worked there.
What?
So when I went to Ohio State, I worked at Cherry Valley. I'm not kidding
did
you.
you?
I
Oh,
worked
wow,
at the
that-
Cherry Valley Lodge. I was a
Okay.
lifeguard at Cocoa Key for 2 years. I was looking to ask you because I used to get Granville and Grandview confused all the time.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not kidding you. I know that hotel through and through. I like what I would do is I would go there Thursday night. I'd work Thursday night. I wouldn't have class Friday. I'd work 15 hours Friday. They'd give me a room. I'd wake up and work 6 hours on Saturday, and I would be home by 1 o'clock for the games, and then I wouldn't have to work the rest of the week. Like that place was awesome. I love working.
It is awesome. Yeah. And we did do a holiday event there. It was their first event, but this is the first Mother's Day event. But it's being advertised as a sip and shop. Coming, put together, you know, some gifts for mom, buy for yourself, you know, do all those things. So we're hoping that will be a really good event for us. The Christmas event was good. So yeah, and then we also have the Dublin Market.
Their Christmas, which I just like. So Vicky asked us to go down and do the Dublin Market, and just because of how Cleveland has been formed for us, we couldn't commit to it, and it sucks because that's probably one of the best markets to be a part of. Like the Dublin Market in Columbus is literally probably the number one farmers market in Ohio based on people consistency. People don't go there just for getting fresh food and going. They go there to find stuff, to go buy it in stores, to go look for it. And it's one of the best markets to go to. But like I couldn't commit to every Saturday morning in Columbus. And it was just like, I couldn't do it. And then when I talked to the lady, she's like, oh, why don't you do every other week? And I'm like, I can't even commit to that. Like, so we missed it. And it's a huge regret for us because we want to be in the Dublin Market. We just like, we couldn't make the 2-hour trip every Saturday. Well, actually, it was like a 6-hour trip because you got to go there, set up. So we couldn't burn 6 hours every Saturday and then work for 4, 5, whatever it ran down to. So it sucks, but that's a cool market.
Yeah. Brad, you've done some. Brad, you've got to do some really big opportunities this spring so far. You know, events are a really big, crucial part of success. So in the season line, what are some, like, I know what your events have been, but tell us about your strategy and what events you've picked out so far this year and going this year to kind of help Redbeard get the exposure it needs.
Events are hard because when I go to events, I talk to other vendors that are there and say, hey, what shows do you do? What shows are good? What shows are not good? You know, you try and pick other people's brain. You can help them with something. They can help you with something. And I've done everything from like local farmers markets. We just did in February, we did the National Fishing Expos in Columbus. And then in March, we backed that up with the Sportsman's Outdoor Expo, which used to be the formerly the Ohio Deer and Turkey Expo. I mean, you're talking tens of thousands of people, and we did okay at those events, but like events are hard because you can talk to people, and depending on what your product is and then what the audience is that actually attends those shows depends on your success there. So I've done shows that I signed up for that I was expecting to do okay at, that I did really well. I exceeded my expectation. And then I've also done shows that people are like, oh my gosh, you have to do this, like spend the money to do it. And these shows are not, some of these shows are not cheap. Like it's a gamble to do them and put yourself out there and spend the time and the money to go invest yourself in your company and what you're doing. And I've done some shows that people are like, oh, this is an awesome show. You know, we did very well. And I've went and I've made my money back, but I haven't done very well. So it's kind of you kind of have to just do it. It's one of those things. I'm kind of like a fly by the seat of your pants guy, to where I do my research. If I feel that it's a fit for our company and our products, then I do it. And if it doesn't work out, then I know that I won't do it next year. But we've done a lot of shows that have done very well for us. I know that typically fourth quarter shows do very well just because of the Christmas season. First quarter is rough. It's been our roughest quarter so far since we've started the company. And you just have to adapt and figure out ways to make up for those slow times. I've done that by focusing my first quarter on trying to get into retail locations because I know that the sales are going to be a little bit shorter versus what I would like to do. But shows are tough, man. It's just, and it's all about the crowd. Are the people that are there going to buy your product? And it's literally a gamble. I mean, I know that there's some shows I did last year that I'm definitely going to do next year, and I've already signed up for them. I've already paid the dues for those in January to make sure that we get in. And there's some shows that I paid money for last year that I did that I've tried to not do this year just because I didn't feel that it was worth, because by the time, I mean, you guys know just as well as I do, it's not just showing up and selling your product. It's the preparation. It's making sure you take the inventory with you, setting up. It's the setup time, the drive time, the gas money. The
drive time, like making sure your drive shaft is properly maintained. It doesn't explode.
If your drive shaft on your truck breaks, then you're not going to make it there. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you drive a Chevy? It's probably going to break down the side of the road. Do I need to factor in
Here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a gamble. It's you got to do what you feel is right for your company and your product, and you just got to do it. You're going to get some.
Did you see a rough fourth quarter or a first quarter this year?
First quarter. Fourth quarter was
this
money.
Year.
Yes.
So your fourth quarter was really good. Their first quarter this year was bad, right?
First quarter was slow, very slow.
That's the same. I mean, I'm not kidding you. That's literally identical.
Well, I mean, guys, I'll time out here on this. I can't speak at a high level with your independent businesses, but coming from believe it or not, I haven't done podcasts that have like 6 viewers my entire life. I've actually been in retail, and and in the car business, like the saying was, in commission, you make your money March through November, maybe December, businesses. But January, February, do not. That is like, you need to have your bills paid through January, February. So I think what you're talking about, like, I don't think anybody needs to panic or freak out. Like, you got to think. Last year, COVID, the cost of living has increased a lot. You're recovering from like all the holidays because no one got Christmas the year before because of all the lockdowns. So people went big this year for things. So I think it's going to be all right. The stimulus money ran out. So I think everyone's just like readjusting their budgets. I think everybody's going to be cool. I think there's a natural recession, and it's just a couple month lull because the auto market's down. Everything's down right now. So I think everything across the board is down. So Brad, just it'll be all right, man. We're gonna get you.
Yeah, no, and I kind of knew, like, my dad was in business for 37 years, and he's like, first quarter slow, and he worked in the food industry for 37 years as a franchisee for a company, and so I kind of had, I guess, a little bit of a heads up as to the first quarter lulls, I guess you could say. And it was, for me, it was kind of like I planned ahead. I knew that I could see that coming into the fourth quarter and through the fourth quarter that we did very well. So I focused my efforts in the first quarter on more towards like getting into retail locations, doing more like administrative stuff, checking my inventory. We launched the new labels. It's kind of a time of resetting and readjusting going into the new year to just knock it out of the park going into the summer season. For us being a seasoning company, we're going into barbecue season right now. That's our money season through summer. And then we just have the benefit of owning the second and third quarter because of grilling and barbecuing. And then going into the fourth quarter of being Christmas season, people want to buy gift packs. So I use the first quarter kind of as, I guess you could say, my reset period, which I plan to do again going forward, to just use that as my reset period, get grounded, figure out what we need to do, how we need to adjust fire going forward to just knock it out of the park going into this year. So.
Hell yeah. Now, Vicky, in the salsa, I know you do a lot of flea markets. How vital is that going to be for you planning going forward down there? You hitting up the big Columbus market. You got a big market garden down there. No pun intended.
I actually don't do flea markets. I'm actually more of I've done the Dublin market for the past few years. And I just applied for and got into the Worthington market this year, which is an amazing market as well. We had an audition on Saturday, passed, and we'll be in that market. Not every week, because, again, not the manpower that I would like to have. But, you all bring up a good point. The markets are iffy. Fourth quarter is best. In fact, Chris had an amazing event last year. First time, timed it up. And for us, it wasn't like we had the biggest sale day ever, but we came close. But the one thing I have to look at some of these markets is, am I in a market where that when these people leave this market, they can go somewhere and buy my salsa? And we have a little thing that we give them and say, these are the stores we're at. And so there's a lot to be said for that. But I can look at that sometimes and directly see if some of those events have caused an uptick in sales. And that there's a lot to be said for that. Just FaceTime, and we're not the cheapest salsa out there, but so it's important.
Damn better because it's ridiculously good. Sorry.
Well, that was Chris's event.
I honestly can say that salsa is one of the best hangover cures you could possibly have.
Well,
I'm not
kidding
you.
We you know what you should do?
I've been
if you
hungover
like
a lot in my life, and it does a really good job.
Yeah. Throw it in your blender and blend it all down and make a Bloody Mary.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
good. Yeah, that's a good hangover cure. But like I said, Chris's event was amazing, and he brought a lot of people in. We got a lot of brand awareness out of that. We sold a couple other different things, which we don't, swag items and stuff like that, which was good. And so that was a first time try it. It was good. We'd do it again if you had it. But there are, like you said, there's some events you just look at and you go, I spent this much money, I drove, and not good. But then again, COVID, hopefully this is, we're kind of in the past with that. Of course, now we have the recession. So I'll see how great the markets are soon, because the markets are just starting to warm up.
And I guess I didn't mean any disrespect. I definitely could combine market and flea market and farmers market.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, my bad. Because I just offend people and I just put everybody in big groups. That's what I do.
That's fine. Hey, I spent many a time in a flea market.
Vicky, not everybody's got it, but I got it, and I'm very good at it.
I think that's part of the growing pains too of being a small business is when you do these events, you learn what works and what doesn't.
Right.
So it's a trial and error thing, and it really sucks sometimes. I'll be the first to say it. Is the money that I've spent, I don't even want to say how much I've actually spent on one individual show for a weekend because it makes me want to puke in my mouth. But
right, yeah,
it's trial and error.
It is.
You learn what works. You do what you feel is right for you, and then you just, if it's good, it's good. You do it next year. If it's not, you don't.
Well, and I've been in the position where I've asked somebody, is this show good? And they're like, good. And I've gone and paid my money. And then I realized, oh yeah, it's good for them, but it's not good for me.
Exactly. And the difference between products is a huge thing. The one show,
go on that. Yeah.
Right, because the one show that I did it down at Brewdog USA in Columbus at the brewery.
Oh,
And
been
there
there.
were people next to me that sold like
Not even neighbors.
signs and stuff that were like they did the laser etching signs, and
Yes.
they're like, "Oh, this show's awesome!" And so I signed up for it, and I didn't do bad, but it definitely was not.
Not your best day.
It wasn't good for us, and that's
Right.
fine. I learned my lesson, and no hard feelings. You know, they were just trying to help me out, and I gave them some names of some show that maybe they may have done, and it might not be good for them.
Right.
Right.
There's a couple of great shows around Columbus. I mean, I have to say, Ohio, I think Ohio does a great job all over the state of having amazing shows. And
They really
you can tap into anything. But the thing is, I have to look at something like, oh, it's a 2-day show. You're going to come early in the morning. How willing are you to carry around fresh salsa all day?
Right.
Are you, if you're going to be at the Thornville Fest or something, or now I can sell you an insulated
going to that
bag
one
with
this
some with my gel packs, and that will help a lot. But if you're going to stay all day there and camp or something and not go home and not put it in your refrigerator, there's no reason for me to be there.
Right.
So
Well,
I
you
do
had-
really
you-
well
Vicky-
later.
Yeah, and Vicky, you kind of have a different ball game versus what Chris and I have, because we have
Right.
shelf stable products.
Right.
You have stuff that has to be refrigerated, so that's a whole nother level of
Right. Competition.
logistics and
Yeah.
preparation to make things work.
Yeah. It's just a whole nother layer of complexity, because I get lots of recommendations from people. And then I'm like, am I going to be in the sun all day? I can't do that. But,
Right.
now I can, because I'm taking this.
Absolutely.
Hey, there we go.
This,
we always seem to get the weirdos, right? We get like some real weird people come out. Like this week,
Yeah.
this weekend we did a demo at Strong's with Giant Eagle, and this
Like
dude,
Tony?
no joke, it was like 11:45. He was already hammered. He was getting his second case of Busch Light.
America. Hell yeah.
He opened up a jar of our mustard, took a hot dog off the grill, dipped it, ate the hot dog, put the lid back on, and goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy this," and then set it down on the table and walked out.
Okay, so
How
what's
did
your
people
most
do?
awkward moment? What's your
You
most
better have
awkward
given him
moment?
2 damn jars of mustard, Chris. You
Yeah.
better. have given him 2.
My absolute most awkward moment was this woman. She took a sample and like instantaneous was like and spit it right back out on the table. Didn't even sit in her mouth for more than 2 seconds. She's like, "I don't like that," and I was like, "Why don't you throw it in the garbage?" And she just goes, "Because I don't want to." And I'm like, "Okay." And like, I'm not kidding you. The same event, that was like that whole market. I'm not going to name names because we do well with them. That entire store, it's like a trend to not wear an undershirt under a winter jacket. Like, it's a winter jacket and there's nothing underneath it. And a lot of the
I
winter
wanna
jackets
go.
are those 90s Charlotte Hornets jackets. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm going to
Oh,
apply.
hey,
I'm
we
applying
got-
for that show.
we got number 5 in the house.
Hey, Alyssa, how are you?
Howdy, good. How are you?
We got the
Cheers.
boss.
Welcome to the party.
The boss is here.
Vicky is so happy to have you because
I
she
am
was
so
surrounded,
happy to have you.
she was surrounded by toxic masculinity for the last 33 minutes and 18 seconds, give or take.
I'm glad to break it up.
I'm glad you're here too because I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, I have one more question. What is, so everybody, every time we do this and my family comes, we always have like, we'll always go, what was the question that people come by and ask? So you guys, you go first. What's the question that somebody comes and asks you about your product that you just wish you did not have to answer 100 times?
Great question, Vicky.
I will win this one. I
Good.
guarantee I will win. And it's not about winning, but I will win.
Good.
I have had more people come up to me at shows and ask me how and why I would season my beard. So let me explain. This is why. There's a nostalgia about the beard in America. And you have all these beard product companies out there. So when I came up with the name Redbeard Seasonings, I kind of played off that nostalgia and combined it with the barbecue world. And I'm like, let's just do this. There's guys out there with beards, they barbecue. That's the name. That's the winner. So people legitimately come up to my booth and they ask me, what do you you put that in your beard? And I'm like,
Yes.
there's so many beard product companies out there.
There is.
I would love a honey chipotle beard.
Like, oh my gosh. Like,
You might actually tap into a direct market there. You're
Yeah.
actually sitting on a golden one, truly.
Yeah.
so
Right.
if you,
Yeah.
Tony,
Maybe
if
we
you
should
want
go in
your
the beard
beard,
direction.
yeah, Tony, if you want your beard to taste, or actually, Alyssa, if you want Tony's beard to taste like steak and brisket, just tell him to sprinkle some on there. And
How about it, right?
that's
Put the street corn on there. Use the street corn.
Yeah.
I think the honey chipotle though, because then it gets to a honey glaze, and then it gives her something to cook on.
Oh my God.
You gotta lick the beard.
I heard it helps with. Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing. I've had so many people ask.
That is a good one. Okay, Chris, you what?
Weirdest question. See, we don't get a lot of questions. We just get really weird interactions. Vic, we lost you.
She'll be back.
She'll be back. So we always get people like nothing of ours is like real strange or crazy. Like we just get really strange interactions from people, like spitting on samples or not wearing undershirts or like
You missed it. He was,
people.
it.
The crazy one is that people, because we do them in souffle cups, right? So these little cups with sample in it, and we'll have a bin of forks or toothpicks, and the people will take them and they'll just shoot the shot, and like the sauce gets on their face, it gets everywhere, and then they're like, do you have a napkin? And it's like, well, we could use the fork. Like, why don't you go with the fork first?
You should capitalize on that, man. Set up a camera and be like, shoot the sample.
No, get him a bib.
Oh man, I mean, these are great. I'm crying. I mean, I'm literally.
We get some weird ones, but like the thing is we have such like a good response from people when they try it, they love it, and so we do really well with that. But it's like, it's hard. It can get real hard to get people to try it, man. Like just to say, hey, you want to try barbecue sauce? Like, nah, I just got out of church. We're like, what does that have to do with it? What is the Lord? Jesus didn't like barbecue sauce? Like, what are you talking about?
Jesus,
fasting goes until at least 1 p.m.
Jesus said no barbecue sauce on Sundays. Dang it!
It is decided. It is decided. So hey,
oh man,
hey, Lute, what's up, Lute? How we doing? Johnsy's in the house too.
Johnsy.
So I'm sure Alyssa, with your days of setting up at the farmers markets, you've had some strange interactions. What's your number one like strange interaction of people with your jewelry and your crafts?
It's the boobs. It's always the boobs.
The boobs.
My boob sculptures that I do.
Explain to everybody the boob sculptures because not everyone's going to know.
It's more of a novelty item. I just do polymer clay breast sculptures, and of course, that's already like it's strange to most, right? So I had the great idea that I was still going to take them to the farmers markets. I still wanted to take them, but I wanted to conceal them in such a way that you would have to literally open a box or something. So that's what I came up with.
Why don't you put a little knit bra on them?
What's that?
You could have just put a knit bra on them.
I have. I've done covered ones, but these ones are specifically uncovered.
Listen.
So I put a box and it says 18 plus only.
European.
And I put some quirky statement on there about, open the box if you dare, if you're 18 up, blah, 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 blah. And my favorite is watching the people like open the box, shut the box, and then reopen the box. That is the best thing. And it's usually like older ladies
or your local pastor.
Right. Always does my heart joy.
Or Tony. You need to videotape that. That would be epic.
I really should.
Yeah. Like, hey, before you open this, can I record your reaction?
That's perfect for marketing.
That would take away from the novelty of it. But truly, having that reaction and, of course, always seeing the reactions to my envelope stuff is interesting.
Yeah. Like, if you ever have anyone come up and be like, what do you do with these?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time?
Yeah. I mean, that's usually the
they're
questions
earrings.
that follow.
You put them in your ear.
They're
You
not
wear
earrings.
them. No, I'm just being stupid.
How did I have a question for Mrs. Lane? So you did like your first official like event this past weekend. Well, Tony and I were down
by myself. My first
blowing
official
out your drive shaft.
by myself.
Yeah, we were down wrecking trucks and playing with our meat, and you were out doing legit things. So how did your first event go this weekend?
Oh, Brad was working me all right.
But anyways, how did your first event, like official event, go? Since you got like your vendor's license, you're doing it legit, you're out there. Let's hear it.
It's a little bit liberating, I will say, getting to take a little bit of time away from the normal rigmarole. Being a mother of 2 littles is, especially during a panorama, an incredibly isolating time. So I think the biggest takeaway is just the ability to get out and see people and communicate and just feel that I'm one with society. It's not so much about the show in and of itself, but it's about, those connections and just being able to, get my feet back on the pavement and really I feel amazing. It went great. Although foot traffic was poor, it was still a really great way to get out and start the season.
So these guys are all like food,
Right.
and you're more of like your novelty though. So like, how do you determine what trends you go with? Because like Brad, he went with like barbecue blends, so his like protein, like, the street corn does the thing. Branch, it's like a sauce for everything food related. Where novelty, I feel like there's broad interest.
Oh yeah,
broad. So how do you like narrow down with your company of like what you're going to go after, what niche you're going to go after?
How do you find the
do
niche?
You develop something for a niche, overpopulate, and then move on to a new niche, and then just keep stockpiling?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's exactly how I do it.
I really didn't know. I honestly didn't know, because I mean, this is a great opportunity to see how her brain actually works in this process.
The reality of the situation is, I usually fixate on a project. I show off that project because I'm super excited about that project, and then somebody's like, can you do that, but like different? And then I have to order a bunch of different things. And then there's typically this like cycle that gets started, and I'm usually just feeding into what folks want. So I'm still scratching my itch and getting my creative biz out there, but at the same time, I'm like definitely feeding into whatever they want, because I'm still reaching that need, but at the same time, I'm getting my creative aspect. So I think ultimately it just comes down to what I'm into. I don't care if people buy it or not. It's what went into it,
Yeah.
Isn't that what art? I mean, that's what art is, anyways, right? Like, you just
I mean,
it's about
through everybody's perception, as long as you're happy with it.
No, it's truly about the creation.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
And getting that need met within myself. That's really what brought it here to begin with.
And plus, go ahead.
I would say, I think that like when I saw like the envelope earrings that you do, Alyssa, when I saw those on Instagram, I'm like, what a freaking genius idea.
It seems genius, but it's so not.
Everyone just throws that shit in the trash.
Yep.
It's the way that we should be looking at life. Like I came at a point where I'm like, look, sustainability within a small business is hard. And when you look around you and you see the resources that are actually available to you that are really, I don't know, concealed as trash or junk, it's truly, if you have the art and the mind for it, it can really be something great. And I think that having that inspiration of making people look through their junk mail was just as much uplifting to my heart as making the actual creations themselves. People message me like, look what I got in the mail. Who would have been excited about that prior to this event?
Yeah, now we open up all our junk mail. It's such a blessing.
I usually
every single envelope.
Wait, you guys open your mail?
I usually took those envelopes, like the security envelopes that say postage already paid. I usually just lick them and put them back in the mailbox so they get charged.
Right, yeah.
Of course you'd lick them, Brad.
Yeah, you know it.
I do. All Saturday.
You found out.
Yep, Saturday. Out. Chris, so hey, seriously, what else has been going on with Branch? I know like a big, the first quarter sounds like it's kind of developmental. And I know you chimed in on a lot, but we didn't get to do a deep dive in outside of the rubber ducks. I teed you up for that one. But take this opportunity to talk about what happened here in the first quarter of Branch. I know you've had some big stuff going on, but what are you ready to share with everybody that's big, that's going to take Branch to the next level this first quarter?
So we obviously have the Rubber Ducks, right? But we're also working with the Crushers, which is the other independent minor league baseball team up here in Cleveland. They're in Avon. Their ticket sales are through the roof. This season, they're doing really well. They're starting to kind of build and grow, and that's going to be a cool fan base and fun fan base there. We just worked with our mustard, the Fieldhouse Mustard, just won a silver medal in the Mustard Museum Awards.
Oh, it's official. We can announce it. We can announce it.
Yes.
Hey, Brad.
We knew about it. We found out like 10 days ago, and I asked the guy about it. I talked to him last week, and he's like, yeah, we're going to send you a medal, an actual silver medal for it. So we were going to wait, but it's like we started telling people, and now it's kind of getting out that people kind of know that we won, and like the other people who were involved, we told. So it's kind of out there now. We also have.
I was going to say, man, we heard that good news yesterday. Let's go.
We have a meeting with a very large university that's in the middle of the state Wednesday, and if that goes well, it's going to go really well.
State of. Oh, so we're talking.
There he is.
Hey, Capital University. Welcome, Branch, to Capital University. Big news.
Hey,
Columbus State, you got it.
Maybe up next, Columbus Community, CCC.
Dude, not Columbus State Community College. You nailed it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as it's not Michigan.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Wow, you actually said
Can't
the
believe
M.
he even said it.
He said the M. He said the M.
I said.
Oh yeah, dude, we had a really slow building first quarter, but this last month has made up for all the shit we had to deal with. So it's been cool. We've been doing a lot of demos with Giant Eagle, and our numbers with them are through the roof. So we've covered almost all of last quarter within the first week and a half of April. So that's really helping us. So if we can continue the trend in which we're going, we'll be back on top. And that's why, like Brad, that's what I was saying. Like why was your first quarter versus your second quarter, all this stuff, and it really just came down. It was like we're now making up ground and what was like just sitting there idle. And if this is just what we do yearly, honestly, I'm okay with it.
Right.
It gives us a little break because we run real hard all the way up until December, and then we have our big Christmas market, which we're going to do that every year. We call it Sauce with Santa. We just bring Santa Claus in there. We do a big event, a little flea market inside of a big market. And so if we can kind of continue that trend, like we burn pretty tough, and then we get about 2 weeks off, and then we got to get back into it. So I'm okay with having a slow first quarter. Like if we have, I don't ever want to slow anything, right?
It's not a bad thing.
But no,
it is, but it's not.
We have a slow third quarter. I'm going to, figure that one out.
Yeah. That's
Everybody has their running seasons.
Hey, and by the way, Blue Smoke Chaser, we did not mean to offend the Columbus State. Yeah, that's right. Columbus State Community College.
CSCC. I know Columbus State very well. I went to Columbus State.
But when you see the news potentially, you will understand that it's a little bit bigger than them. But yeah, that's great school.
Nobody's knocking on Columbus State.
What's that?
What'd you say?
What about Columbus State?
What?
He was not Columbus State, y'all.
Who's on first?
What's on second?
There's nothing wrong with Columbus State. Believe me, I went there for 2 years. It's a good school.
I know. Yeah.
Thanks, Johnsy.
And Johnsy was awesome. Oh, by the way,
he's always hyping me.
Johnsy.
I know you didn't mean no offense, Blue Smoke, but we just wanted to, just clear the air a little bit, we're good. But hey, Alyssa, what do you want to talk about while I go to the bathroom?
I need a refill too, by the way.
I was gonna say, I think
all right, I'll go first.
Too.
I'll go first. Y'all talk, and then Chris can get his beer. All right, okay. We're gonna play a game when we get back. All right, I'll go first. Y'all talk, and then Chris can get his beer. What's going on? Right, okay.
Wait, that's me. Sorry.
Jesus, Chris, get it together.
Dude, I couldn't see I couldn't see the.
We got the banner, we got the logo, and then we got.
I see what's going on.
I sound delicious, by the way. For the record, I sound great.
Give me 30 seconds.
All right, we're gonna play a game that's gonna be called Add an Ingredient.
add an ingredient. I don't like this game already.
Well, you don't have.
I don't either.
Yeah, it's going. You start with like a thing, and then you have. Let's start with like a protein.
I vote you. Go to the bathroom.
Alyssa can pick the protein, and then you add a flavor to it, and then you have to go around until it gets weird. No.
I think you need to go to the bathroom.
It's your show. You get to pick.
Yeah, it's your show. That's the thing. We're all just a part of your.
That is true.
Your
this is my world.
Just,
y'all living in it. How's that?
We're just living in your world, Tony.
I know you are. It's great.
You've actually gotten a heavy dose of Tony.
Dude. Brad has gotten a lot.
I'm okay with it. We just become best friends. Are we gonna do karate in the garage?
Yep.
The fact that you still stuck around, it shows that you've gotten a keen friendship.
Well, in all fairness, he didn't have a choice. He needed me.
I think I talked to him like 18 times today. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we talked a lot. When you were on nap time, and I was like, I can't take a nap because me and Brad were chatting it up.
One of the things that I had to know about Tony early on was that the bromances would always be in place, and that and I rely on you guys just as much because there's really not a lot that I like to get into as far as his cooking ventures. So it's really nice when somebody can take the reins on that for me.
At least the Dude Network is now the Dudette Network.
Right, yeah. And then I always make fun of him that the more feminist of us and he's running the Dude Network. I'm like, what are you doing to me, man? What are you?
Right.
Can't hurt, right?
Right, but I mean, as long as I'm the back vocal piece, I feel like we're okay. We're doing all right.
Yeah.
But I trust him. He's out there making good choices, making good friends, making good connections, and it's been glorious for us both.
I'll tell you, we had a blast at that competition this past weekend. We were like,
stop talking about that competition. He enjoyed himself. Despite all of the things about it that went awry, there was still a lot of and bonding.
There was a lot that went awry, but we had a good time. We met some good people down there, and it was a lot of fun. It was a learning experience for both of us.
Well, and I told him too, the community in and of itself is exhilarating, isn't it? When you go set up.
There's so many good people in the barbecue community. Like everybody just wants to help everybody. And I feel like those type of people are like the people that you want to connect with. Yeah. Like there's a couple of people that I met down there that I've talked to over the past couple of days since we've been back that I've learned stuff from, that I've got advice from. But it was a good time, except for Saturday when the drive shaft on the truck broke.
I know you're probably going to take a while to recover from that. And ultimately, what I told him,
and don't worry, I'll never let him forget when he does.
I'm just gonna and take all the awards and stuff. But I told him, I said, ultimately, this is just a huge learning experience for you, and take it all in. The community, the ideas, the
experience.
Tricks of the trade, everything that goes into that is just this experience in and of itself. So I'm glad that you guys actually got to have a little bit of fun, and despite all of the, like I said, things that went awry.
I texted Tony today and I said, whatever the next blend that I come out with is going to be called Drive Shaft. I don't care what it is, what it tastes like. Redbeard Seasonings Drive Shaft.
Broken Soul was what it's going to taste like.
Vicky, fresh off a wardrobe change, back in action.
Hey, Vicky.
Hi.
So, it's been Saturday was a lot of fun. Hey, Branch, are you coming down to compete with us next year in KCBS? Are we doing it?
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, he sold it. He was so excited.
Dude, the thing that I think what I'm in my plan this summer is I'm gonna figure out how I can get my pork to taste like it's coming out of the oven like it is. I'm telling you, you guys have it, you'd be like, oh my god, like it's so simple when it comes down to it. And it's just pulled pork, dude. It's so simple, but it's so good.
I think I need to taste this pork before if it's that good. And he just does 14 hours oven, smothers it in Branch. That's it.
That sounds delicious.
Oh my god,
and then
I want to try it.
And then he puts it on the hot dog, and it looks amazing.
I would just take a hot dog and dip it in some Fieldhouse mustard. So,
oh yeah,
my dude.
That's my favorite.
Fieldhouse mustard.
I put it on. I sear it on my flat top. So I take it and make it almost like a smash burger. So when you do that 14 hours, what happens is that you get a good crust on the outside of it. But while it sits in that juice, it drains out, and then over the course of 14 hours, it starts to pull everything back in. So your pan has to be deep, because you go with like an empty pan, and then all of a sudden your pan fills up with water, and then fills up with the juices, starts to drain. Then you pull it to rest it. I let it rest for an hour after I cook it, and there's it goes from being, I'd say, like 75% full of juice to about 25%. And so when you shred it, it soaks all that back up. And then I sear it, and when I sear it, it sears the juice inside of the pork itself. So it's almost like making a smash burger, but with pulled pork. So every bite has the really tender pork in it, but it also has the crust on it and has the flavor. And so I didn't figure this out until this summer when I started doing these catering events, and I had 6 tall steins of beer, and I started messing around with my grill, and I figured out that you could do a smash burger but with pulled pork, and loved it, and then I kind of perfected it, and there you go.
That's awesome.
That's what it's about.
Hey,
Making
kale, yeah.
Kale, yeah.
I've heard that I don't know how many times this week already.
It's Brad's fault. He's making fun of the salmon.
All right, you and I got
That's
these.
another story for another time.
Yeah, for a more appropriate time. So, hey, today was Cinco de Mayo, and I cooked my loving life off today because I wanted to feature all your products here tonight. So we're going to start at the top. We're going to go our way down, and I'll go around with what I did, featuring all these Ohio small businesses that are here. While I had Hankie, Pankie, Arts, Crafts, and Oils holding down the fort here. So we had first the Branchero. Went with some marinated.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Grilled chicken breast. We did some Mexican street corn dry brine in that seasoning in the chicken with some lime juice and a little bit of EVO. Grilled it up real nice. Served it with some Branchero.
Yeah, buddy.
Money. And then, you got to do the smoked cream cheeses, but I can't pick just one. So I went with both. I went with a Taco Tuesday street cream cheese, and
I
then
confirmed they both were fabulous.
And the street and the cream and the street corn cream cheese, which I then used on the smoked cream cheese on the.
Wow!
Oh my god, dude!
So fabulous.
Yeah, if y'all want to change it up, take your smoked cream cheese, put it on your corn. Forget the butter, forget the mayonnaise. This is the way to do your street corn. Smoked cream cheese, lather it up in there. You're welcome in advance. Vicky, your stuff is amazing. I had to try a Cleveland whiskey sour.
I can't believe that. I got to try that.
Took a little bit of club soda.
Okay.
2-part. Did follow the recipe. 1 part bourbon, 2 parts cocktail mix. Did a rim with the smoked margarita salt that you sent over with some cubes and made it into a little whiskey sour, and then garnished it with a fresh jalapeno. And then we did steak and brisket from Redbeard Seasoning, tri-tip for the steak tacos with some fresh chimichurri seasoning in there as well. And then to round it all off, we made some fresh guacamole with the tips and the Roma with some. I actually added a little dash of the ridiculously good salsa of the spicy ridiculously good salsa into this guacamole. So it gave it a little bit, and it had the chunks of the red in there, as you see from the tomatoes in the salsa, because your salsa is not just runny; it's actually very thick and delicious. Thank you.
It looks like Christmas in a bowl.
Didn't even have to add cilantro on my end because of the level of cilantro in the seasoning in the salsa. It's so good. So that is the Cinco de Mayo tour in the Dude Network Kitchen today. Thank you all for all the great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for all the great. Yeah, no, you
guys
are
very, very good.
We're not shutting her down quite yet. I just wanted to go a little show and tell there. I wanted to really show my appreciation to all you for all your support of the Dude Network in the last few months. And actually, and some of us longer than that, but I think everybody in here, we've been working together for about 6 months now. So it's been an absolute blast. And I just really wanted to show you guys my appreciation by going a little bit extra. all these posts will be going out over. Brad knows how I roll. I'll divvy these out over the next like 3 weeks over all 6 platforms. But you guys are awesome. Thanks for the great materials to work with. It's been a blast today.
Tony had to keep me out of the salsa so that he still had some to work.
I mean, dude, I literally had to I'm like, listen, I was like, she was sitting out, and I knew the look she was at. And I don't want to make fun of her eating because she barely eats, but she's under like a steam shovel that ridiculously salsa. I'm like, honey, don't want to interrupt your eating.
Hold on.
However, we need 1 jar of that for Thursday. I was like,
okay, we'll get you one.
Do whatever the hell you want, but I need 1 for Thursday.
And I'm pretty much a pansy when it comes to anything hot. So I mean, I have to really like it in order to
hot. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I really do.
That makes me happy. Yeah.
Very, very
like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fun to do. We have a passion for making it, and we love what we do. As I'm sure Brad and Chris does too. We don't do this. I mean, you don't do that for the immediate financial kickback or gain or anything. We really like what we do.
We were just talking about it. You had dipped out on a little bit, but we were just talking about like the art of creation and enjoying, the craft, and then other people indulging in that. Of course, it bids your heart well, but truly the creation of it and just getting to express yourself in that way.
I feel bad for like all of you all the time of the anxiety of watching someone like coming up to your table, looking at the products, waiting for their reaction. Brad, when someone does like the little salt shaker in the palm and putting your tongue, like there's that moment of anxiety, like please like it. Chris, when you have Bible Betty over there going blah, 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 like, oh, please like my Branch sauce over.
Get away with the fork.
Yeah. Screw that fork. It's for the devil. It's a problem.
That's the devil's fork.
So, and then like Vicky, like when someone tries your salsa, there's like that, like money does not matter.
Does not.
When someone says,
my husband says that's why I go.
That's the best I've ever had.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit. I don't care.
I'm waiting for them to say it's ridiculously good.
Right, you would think.
I mean, that's what happens every time. I mean, probably when I do the market Saturday, I will hear that a good bit, and that just keeps me going.
Absolutely.
You put peer pressure on people with your name, by the way, Vicky.
No, she doesn't.
No intention. No intention there. And the odd thing is, I mean, that was not a name that I chose, but when we started a few years ago, I had several names, and I was on the way to the printer, and I asked my daughter, and I couldn't decide. She was standing here with her soccer friends, getting ready to go to play soccer. I go, what do I call it, girls? What do I call it? And my daughter looks around. She goes, Mom, all I know what to tell you is everybody says it's ridiculously good.
I wondered how you came up with that.
Yeah, that's a good story.
That is cute.
That's, the girls, and this was funny because they were playing for the state championship, and we were leaving to go there, and I was taking a whole bunch of it just for people to try. And then she goes, that's what everybody says.
Branch, how did you come up with your name?
Barbecue and Ranch. You know the story.
Oh, we lost Vicky again. Shit.
Don't even ask me because mine's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that gray beard you got.
It's all that seasoning you're putting in your beard.
Well, the gray hairs in there is from my kids, but
that was from me this past weekend.
Yeah, it's from Tony.
Brad, so I put street corn in pico. So I was making pico de gallo, which I got a story for that in itself, right? So I made pico, and like everything was fresh, it was awesome, and like I put street corn in it, and I was like, dude, this is some of the best pico I've ever had, and it was amazing, right? And it's been so good. And my wife comes downstairs and she goes, something's off with your cilantro. I was like, what? She goes, something's off with your cilantro. She's like, can I see it? And I was like, yeah. Well, it was parsley. So if your seasoning is so good, you couldn't tell the difference between the two of them, because it was like, dude, it was so awesome in the pico. I'm not kidding you. Like that's now like my staple, dude.
I'm gonna have to try that.
It totally changed the way the flavor profile came out. And it pulled out the fresh tomato. It pulled out the flavor of the onion. Like it has that built in there. Like if I made it right, it would have been 10 times better. And I miss cilantro, but like I kind of didn't need it. Like I'm telling you that the street corn in that was unbelievable, dude. It was really, really good.
Try that. Tony used the street corn on his pork this weekend.
Dude,
Yeah.
beat professional team's ass with street corn seasoning on
Yeah.
pulled pork
Yeah.
with butt pork rub, man.
Yeah.
And imagine if I would have
Dude,
cooked
it's
it like up to the proper temp. I was like, God damn.
Wait,
Our
so
pork
with the
was
KCBS stuff, were you guys allowed to use sauces, or the judges strictly on meat?
No, actually, you have to sauce everything at the end of it.
They prefer it.
If you they prefer it, but if you turn it in an unsauced box, I guarantee you're not going to do well.
So we really should try
and. But it's very much a thing. That's probably the biggest thing we learned this past weekend.
The thing about
Ray, we have to try and find a way to do this. We have to find a combo, like one of our flavors and one of your flavors. We figure out how to do it.
For KCBS, your cherry peach sauce for the ribs is the ticket. Your Branch and Branchero will not do well in KCBS because it's not a sweet tomato based.
They want sweet, candy sweet.
No, it's vinegar Texas sweet. Yeah. I get that.
So it would do well in backyard and certain comps, but in the KCBS trail, Branch would not make it. But the cherry peach and the ribs, I forgot to take it down with me, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's why it wasn't submitted, but that's what I wanted to do. I would have submitted it anyway, dumbass.
Well, dude, it's all right. I mean, you got, like we were talking about before, dude. First time, big deal.
Not okay. This has been a very hard several days. Alyssa is so tired of hearing about fucking ribs that she's just over it.
So, dude, we actually submitted our sauces at KCBS. So you telling me that basically I'm like, well, we're not gonna win now, dude. We submitted them in. We're up against 22. No, we were 2,200 was muster. I think we're up against regionally 1,300 in 5 states. It's like 3,600 sauces.
The cherry peach is your ticket.
I hope that you do well, because that just means that we have the inside track for a flavor profile next year.
I would assume Branchero would do well. I would think that, but I guess Kansas City barbecue, they do like it sweet, right? Like that's its jam.
Candy sweet.
They're
judging off of
brewed novelty items. That's how sweet.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah, I was going to say yours, but I thought that was appropriate.
Yeah, your cherry peach would do very well because when the judges, I mean, you can cook. If you can fit it in a turn-in box, you can turn in 150 chicken thighs. But if it ain't sweet on that one bite that they take, you don't have a shot. They want candy sweet flavor.
You wonder why that is. Truly, I mean,
well, if you think about it, like if you cook, it's kind of that's the hardest part about how you season and you sauce your meats in a KCBS is like if you're cooking stuff at home, how you season a rack of ribs or how you season a brisket when you have people that are eating like a 4, 6, 8 ounce portion of that is a different flavor than if someone's just taking one single bite.
That's very true.
So the one single bite that those judges take is how you're judged on taste, tenderness, texture. I mean, that's the whole game. So you kind of have to almost over season your meats, but you don't want to over season it because then it's going to give them a.
Yeah, because they're going to have it.
He gets excited, and I understand because we've got all these new seasonings and all these new flavors. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see how that one bite is going to. You
essentially have to make that one bite the absolute most perfect flavor profile that you can make. And how do you do that? I don't know. Hell, I don't fucking know.
Sweet meat, apparently.
Saturday food that we do not know.
you have to find that line between like seasoned regularly and over seasoned, because if you over season
there is a huge difference. That there's a threshold that is so simple to cross, truly.
Yep.
Especially for those like moi who are keen to that sort of thing.
Every judge has a different flavor palette.
Like if she likes it, I make it. I know I'm on to something. She says she's not.
I'm not a picky person. However,
dude, you know what we could do? Truthfully, what we can do and how we Like
What's
how
that?
we honed in a lot of our cooking and my cooking ability came in is that we do this now, and it's why our products do so well in these demos is we do real world applications with food. Okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
when I do a demo with food, I'll go to GFS, Gordon Food, and I'll get, 8 pounds of pork, and I'll do the pork, and I'll send it, and I give out little samples of pork, right? So if you're giving out your product on a piece of chicken that people knows what it's going to taste like when they take it home, they're going to buy it. So,
Yep.
dude, we should use these demos for stores. We want to do stores because these stores would work with us. We can go to stores. You guys could practice cooking. We could sell product. You could practice cooking. We put this whole thing together, make a big deal about it. The stores are going to get behind us because it's free advertising, it's food, and people are coming to buy from them. We have the ability of honing in and selling products. You guys have this awesome opportunity to practice cooking in front of a live audience that now you know how to perfect it.
That's all he wants is just to do it.
Right.
See,
Right.
well, why not? There's no reason we can't do it. Like I can tell you right now, I'm not bullshitting you. I could literally call 4 places right now and say, hey, what's on the menu for next Saturday? And they say, I don't know, what do you mean? Like, we want to come out there, we want to demo our food, our products on some actual food for people to try. Would you be willing to do it? And they'd be like, oh my God, yeah, come on out here. We did
absolutely.
it like Giant
yeah.
Eagle's a big store.
Hell
Giant Eagle's a
yeah.
big store. Kroger's a big store. These are big stores, and they had us set up front cooking food for people. So you go to mom and pop butcher shops, they're going to bring us on in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
And Redbeard, that's a great way for you to get your stuff in. Like, this was made by this, and people right there get a chance to try that seasoned and are sauced and unsauced. So they get it because they're going to love samples, right? They'll say, "Oh, this is what it tastes like a sample. This is what it tastes with sauce." Dude, your ability to season, do it right there is simple. And everyone's like, "Oh, you want your razor thin margins on demos?" Okay, you can have razor thin margins on these demos, but if you're saving $60 to do 2 days worth of work on a demo and it costs you 80 in the long run, what was the fucking point? Like, truthfully, because at this thing, like, when you think about it, like a small business, you light the wick of a stick of dynamite, and your whole goal is to keep that wick growing and growing and growing, because when it hits the dynamite, it's over with. So no matter what you do, you're in trouble from the start.
Yep.
The second you launch this thing to when it goes off, you don't have an opportunity to stop that from burning and blowing out. So you might as well do everything you can in the time frame you have. Now, don't go give out Delmonico's, right? But like, do it within reason, right? Like chicken, everyone's like, chicken's so expensive. Okay, chicken's expensive it's not. Go get chicken thighs. They're still $2.99 a pound. Go get 10 pounds of chicken thighs, cook those things up, slice them up, and hand out little pieces of chicken thighs. Done.
And go take him to Brad, and he will trim up every damn one of those chicken thighs.
Everyone, Kale, yeah.
Just real quick, I think you really hit the nail on the head when it comes to that familiarity, right? I mean, because you have to think about the way that you're going to bring this into your daily life, and how many people are just smoking. I mean, yes, these cool things that he's smoking up all the time. I mean, people aren't doing that on the reg, right? Chicken is a very familiar thing. It's something that you can integrate very easily into, the normal daily repertoire, and not feel as though you're going off the deep end on some strange flavor. I mean, like, this is something that you're, again, bringing that familiarity and, showing them, again, how to use it, and I just, that, again, figuring out those pathways is just another part of being, a small business, figuring out, those ways of integrating, I just, that's the beauty of it. It's so cool. I was very cool.
You also don't want a one-time sale either. So like if I sell you a product and you're like, wow, this is good, I don't know what to use it on, and you don't use it, like, I get frustrated when I send product to people. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get this stuff and this stuff. And I'm like, why are you waiting? Open it up, use it. I'll send you more. Use the product. I have literal pallets of it. I'm sending it to you because I want you to, when I send this to you, my expectation is you open the box, you put a little bit on a plate, you dip a carrot or a cracker, and like, wow, that's good. Like, that's my expectation. People don't do it because they're thinking it's a one and done. So when we do these demos, I literally tell people, like, look, we have plenty of samples, there's plenty of food. Try it, find out your use for it, because I don't want you to buy it because it was good in this moment and stick it on your shelf and never use it, because that doesn't help me. That's bullshit. It's a fake number.
So,
I need you to buy it, use it, and rebuy it.
this is actually this is a great segue. As a creator, now this is where I can segue in the Dude Network into what you guys do. You guys obviously need creators to make stuff with your product because you can't do it all yourselves, and you have other creators and their platforms, their niches. So, what do you guys look for in creators that you want to work with that will represent your brands the best? That's
Really good question.
That's actually, I'm happy with that one.
What do you mean? Okay, so
Like, what do you look for in a
creator?
creator? The creator's like, hey, I want to be a brand ambassador of Branch. I want to be a brand ambassador of Redbeard.
Oh.
I mean, what do you guys look for? Obviously, like someone that's handsome, has like a wide
All right.
reach, and
It's time to let them talk.
yeah, that part.
Us,
I love it.
I'm not, and this isn't like ass kissing. I look for people like you that I think are going to put the work in, that are going to make an effort, and who actually appreciate and like it. When we look at people who we've sent products to, I see that, you know, people will use it once, and then get rid of it. I see people who never even open it. I pay attention to what they're doing. So we work with this guy. His name's Josh Hunt. He's sponsored by Blackstone. He's
awesome.
a good dude. He's cool, and he actually wants us to do well. And he's like this really good backyard chef, and he's getting into Traeger, and we really like the stuff that he's doing. And like, I love working with him, and like, I like working with you guys. And it's like, it's things where you know, when you're looking at an ambassador, or you're looking at somebody you want to send stuff to, you want them to appreciate you as much as you appreciate what they're doing for you. So if somebody makes a post for us, my thought is, okay, what did you do? What got put into it? How much work into it? We think about it. Now, social, you can't do that as much. And like, it's hard. So for us to say, like, for me to call up and talk to people like, man, that was amazing. And it's awesome. Let's do this. Like, I want to talk to people and explain how much I like it. But when we go on social, we put it on there and we repost or we add some stuff on or say, hey, look at this. You know, social doesn't pull in what we like it to pull in as like, so like, perfect example, Doobie. Doobie's my favorite example of this. I said, yeah, dude, awesome. And that's what I sent to and that's what I sent to Doobie. Doobie's like, does this guy like this stuff? Does he like what we did, what it is? And it's solely strategic, because if I say, hey, you're the best stuff out there, he screenshots it, puts it online, and then I can't say that to somebody else, right?
Right.
I can't say, oh, gosh, yours is better than Doobie. And like, it also is, it's different, right? Like, so you have to be careful. So I work with brand ambassadors that I think want mutual success, and they see that this is going to work for us. It's going to work for you. I also just generally like people, and I'm cursed with the ability of reading people really quickly. And so like, I can figure out what they're in for and what they're not in for. Right. And like, I went out of my way. We sent this stuff to this guy in Alaska. He hunted this crazy, I think it was an elk, and it was this expensive shipping. It was like $75 to ship it. It was 4 bottles. It was crazy expensive. And he's like, hey, ship it to my house in Washington. I'll get it in Washington. So I ship him a bunch to Washington and some bottles Alaska. And then he never opened it, and he posted online that he gave it away. And I was like, you're a dick. And I was like, all the stuff he said, he's like, dude, I'm going to hunt you now. Can we do this food and stuff? And then he posted a month later, never was open. He gave all of our stuff away. It was expensive. And he gave it away to some like random dude. And I'm like, you're a dick. So I like pay attention and I watch it.
I would think it's hard. Somebody that's
passion.
looking for those sort of people.
The hardest thing with brand ambassadors is when you don't know people, and the only thing you have to go off of when either you approach them or they approach you is you look at their content, you look at their profiles on social media, and sometimes that's all you have to go off of. Like, I've sent stuff for free, paid shipping, no cost to that individual, and it has come back and bit me in the ass. But
oh my God, so many times.
I'm the real Redbeard.
I think anybody that's starting out and is just now embarking on what it means to actually get to of social media in the way that it is. Like Tony said, you as a business holder cannot do all the things.
Yeah,
you have to start to outsource.
You have
can only
ambassadors.
Yeah, finding the people that are truly in line with what they've been putting out. You might be able to see all their content, but who are they as an individual and their characteristics and how they're going to represent you and your brand? It's not always easy to just look at their content and make that decision. So I do see exactly what you guys are talking about. And as I don't necessarily love the label influencer, but indefinitely that's pretty much what we've become in a way.
The whole brand ambassador thing is a trial and error. Like
it really is. And it's also that way on the other side of things too, and I think having the ability to look at it from both sides has given us, a way to kind of bridge that gap and see, other businesses for what they are and what they're trying to do. And I can't imagine. I mean, I'm just now starting to embark on that. I'm really not huge, I'm just doing it for the girls that are really supportive of me at this point. But I can only imagine, once you get to that point and you're relying on that sort of exposure, how it can become really dicey at times.
Yep.
It's hard.
You are going to lose a lot,
It can definitely get dicey.
It doesn't always come with the promise. You always have to kind of do what you can. And,
honestly, you know what just frustrates me to no extent is that we have to take time out of the day to pack that shit up, take it to the post office, stand in that fucking line for half an hour.
Why is it
$7?
Amen.
It's so
somebody get it.
But in my
That's
brain,
the thing that at least be honest with me. So we had a guy we sent sauce to, and he was honest. He's like, dude, I don't eat mustards. Don't send me mustards. I was like, thank you for doing that. And the guy ended up being. We told him not to post after he posted a bunch of fucked up shit, but we literally told him we're like, dude, thanks but no thanks. We're not going to associate with you. Keep the sauces. Don't associate with us. We had a great run for the 3 days.
Oh, I love it because I've been there. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, at least you never had anybody throw your product in the trash can on social media before.
Yeah, we all have
have not.
That was Brad's had the best experience of Brandon Bass.
We're not even gonna give him the glory. We're not gonna discuss it.
Yeah,
no.
The reality is that
we'll all get
you
reported,
do
probably.
Unfortunately, sometimes make the wrong judgment, and of course, you have to suffer that loss just as hard as it was to your ego.
You don't know though.
I'm sorry. Okay. I will say the networking part of this is very critical.
Yes.
Because
so insane.
You guys probably and I'm not saying I'm just going to use me as an example, not as me as the precedent, but you guys can come to me what do you know about this person, that person, and I am trying to create a network of branding. I've come across a lot of these, so a lot of times it's oh, that person's definitely cool. I see them posting a lot of content. A lot of times they're always posting stuff of somebody else's that's cool. Or I don't know, I've never heard of that person, and I've known them. They post nothing but nothing but nothing but nothing but nothing. So you guys so do you guys use your other brand ambassadors a lot or representatives of someone that you trust as once you get 4 or 5 that you really, really like? Do you stick with those 4 or 5 for advice, or do you continuously try to branch out into different demographics and niches?
I have niches. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
You guys are cute.
Whatever.
You go. No, man, you go. No, man, you go.
No.
Chris, go. I'm making a decision.
Go ahead, Chris.
So, to me, social media ambassadors are great, but it does not. It helps awareness. So we have this awesome market in Texas where we can sell a lot in Texas. Well, Texas is big. So we ship a lot to Texas. We do well in Texas. But our online sales are a bitch because our bottles are heavy and it's expensive and yada, yada. So our online sales are one. Local is more important to us. Hyper local is more important. So in our world, our exposure, we want it to be direct, right? We want direct exposure to us the people who are going to buy in the stores and how we do it. So I do like brand ambassadors for content. I do like brand ambassadors for connections. But a lot of times, people who are just cooking and making stuff online don't have an understanding of the retail side of it, and they don't have an understanding on the individual side of it, and then the restaurant side and the growth period and things. So it's hard to put a lot of weight on an ambassador because you're just asking them to say, hey, look, here's my product, cook some food, put some together, give me some dope photos, post online, let your people know that this is available, because that only works if their followers are in our area. So it's because I need direct penetration for what we're doing.
For
what the markets are.
For lack of better term.
I'm just kidding. I'm just using a pitch perfect.
So no, like the markets we're going after, right? Like the people we want and we're targeting, they need to be as local as as local and as hyper local as humanly possible. So it's hard for us to not.
Yeah.
It's just hard because it's great and I love the connection and it always works and I love having these people inside. But if your online sales aren't your main focus, then it's only going to help so far. And that to me is cool, but it's also, it's not a waste because exposure is never a waste, but money could be spent somewhere else doing something more beneficial, have a quicker return, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my dog. I couldn't figure out why my shirt was all wet. I'm like, dude, why am I like soaking wet? And my dog walked up and rubbed against me and it's pouring rain over here.
Yes, it is. I just let the dogs out and it is.
Yeah, like I agree, Chris, I agree with what you say. Like with brand ambassadors, it's like I guess I have the luxury of with doing rubs that I kind of sought out some brand ambassadors that do competitions with SCA, with KCBS, Backyard Comps. Mm-hmm. So I have a select group of those guys that do competitions. They've integrated our rubs into their kind of their lineup of stuff that they do for competition. Awesome. And those guys, I have a handful of guys that do very well for us. I appreciate them very much. Those guys,
like I blew it away from your face. You're welcome.
I kind of keep track of like who does good for us, and I reward those guys by sending them free shit like twice a year. I usually send them a huge box of seasonings for free. Oh yeah, but it's hard to like the whole brand ambassador thing in general is just hard. Like
I think truly it comes down to trial and error for most.
It's a necessary evil.
Yes.
In today's
because I cannot, like having kids, having a life, still working a full-time job outside of doing the Redbeard Seasonings thing, it's impossible to create enough content. But like your biggest market is.
Dude, I have a great solution for you. What you should do is that you can run contests, because we've done this and it helps, and they're called collaboration contests. And when people do collaboration contests, that collaboration shares your wall to their wall, or whatever the Instagram calls it, is contests. And you can put them out there, and at the end of the month, we were talking about this before, they can vote on it, and they vote on it and say, look, this is what we want to do. It helps with content, alleviates some of the extra work you got to do. I'm fully aware of like that lack of time, right? Because I have to focus heavy in our off season on content. But like now my entire life is phone calls and in the grocery stores. And so my content takes a shit. Like it goes right in the toilet and you have to rebuild it. So it's this thing now where like, we should, we're here. We should just start putting a contest out there, a content contest, and say, hey, look, tag us in this, we repost, we put them together, and have people do that stuff for us, because not only do they get exposure, right, because they want exposure, they also have the opportunity to win free stuff. We should do it.
Man, right. I have to hop in here real quick, because you keep hitting on a lot of my points, and I'm loving that you are on this line. And
hell yeah.
Because you're very integrated into what collaborators want and what influencers, I digress. I think one of the things that is not heavily considered, or at least if it is, it's from our standpoint, because I am probably more on the influencer ambassador line of things more so than I am on the business side of things, despite having a business. The content creation is a job, right?
It really is.
It is something that only certain people are able to get into for whatever reason. It seems to be a very talented niche, and it is something that businesses require now. It was something that really it didn't have to be thought of as much. Of course, you always want an SEO presence. You always want to do your social media optimization. You want to have that presence, of course, but it has now shifted into something entirely different. The businesses have to start thinking about, how are you going to be represented not only on social media, but in your, I don't want to say just your TikTok realm, but because now it's really spreading into more reels and video shorts, but really, how are you going to be represented as a business in that realm? Because it is incredibly important now, because we are moving into, a society that really values that sort of content, so yeah, as a business, small, otherwise, you're going to have to focus on those type of things. And it's incredibly hard, both on the content creator side of things and the business side of things. And if you are a business owner, guess what? You have both of those. So yeah, you have to outsource, and it becomes really difficult. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about.
And I'll go ahead and tell you, like, the one thing I get kind of frustrated with as a creator working with other small businesses is they expect you to wave this magic wand to like increase sales by like 50%. So it's impossible. But it's crazy though. It's impossible, but seriously,
it's not realistic at all.
It's amazing. Yeah, they're like I've had companies like, I need to know what your conversions are to sales, and I'm like, I've learned to like tell people
views don't equate to sales.
Like I was like, listen, like here's what I can promise you as a creator. I will work my ass off. I will make the picture as pretty as possible. I will sit there. I will do this. I will do that. I said, and now I've got to the point where I've dumbed it down to the point. All I can do is make the content as good as possible. All I can do is get you good content to put out there. But it's amazing how many companies look down at creators as like, oh, I'm working with, and I know there's better examples out there, but like, I'm working with the Dude Network, and I've got no sales off that dude. Like, there's another.
But that's also based on your targeting. Like, that's based on what you want your advertising to do, right?
It's crazy.
You have four options, right?
It's a lot of pressure on a creator because you don't want to lose that business that's finally found. Because, a lot of creators that are looking for how to monetize this, like, they live for these opportunities, and it's like it's so much pressure on a creator to be like, I need to create this banging ass post that leads to like 3 or 4 sales, or they're not going to work with me ever again.
No, dude. So that in itself, that to me personally, that I think is unfair. I think that's bullshit to put on a creator. I don't think
it's just the pressure that creators get. That was my point.
I get it. No, I get it, and I don't think that accurately represents what their idea is, right? Because that would mean if I wanted to create a billboard, which is the second oldest version of advertising, okay, next to I think it's pirates being tattooed. I think that's what it was. Was like you're saying that, if I spent $8,000 on a billboard, I need $16,000 of the sale. That's never ever been the thing. I just looked at billboards. I literally just looked at it 2 days ago. And
and I think Al say there's not a lot of businesses are putting a lot of stock in just the performance of said creators.
There's a reason London owns 90% of the billboards in the country.
Dude, my wife literally is in advertising and marketing and has been doing this for 15 years. And the conversations that her and I have are amazing at how in-depth she gets into these things and how she can drill down individual things in marketing and person and the 15 versions of what she does and how she does stuff. And she works with a good company and they take care of her and they understand it and they see it. And they would never ask that of her. And they're traded. They're traded. Like they're traded in the market, in the stock market. So they would never say, you need to explain to us why this posting you put didn't give us 37 this or that. And you're like, they would be like, no, that's insanity. Anybody with a brain and understanding of what marketing is that the idea of marketing is to keep that in your mind long enough to when you go to purchase that they're thinking about it.
One of the
Right.
things
Awareness
that they talk,
and then purchase.
yeah,
Anybody
and
says that's fucking idiot.
in MLM, which again, I digress. One of the things that
Better
they,
than ATM.
one of the things that
That
they
shit's
teach
forever.
you is that typically people need to see a brand about approximately 7 times before they will definitively make a purchase or make a decision to purchase. I'm gonna kill you.
I'm sorry, I totally forget the good for now. That's better than ATM.
Are you
ATM is a banking system. It's
I'm
a banking
very
system.
Yeah, I use PNC.
And this is how
We
we
use them all the time.
this is how we represent the Dude Network.
OHIO.
ATM.
Continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, I'm
it's,
done.
it's obviously not important.
No, it is now. I'm sorry.
It's a
I'm really
banking system.
Yikes.
Oh my
that
God.
That took a hard left turn.
I didn't expect that to be the one, but it was. I'm sorry.
Of all things.
That took a hard left turn, guys.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I don't show up often, but I remember why now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You should be here more often, though.
Yeah, you really have been to start.
Oh, because I keep it on the tracks, huh?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
We've gotten a lot more accomplished than most of. I will say.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think this has been a good one. I think we covered a ton of stuff. Like, I mean, this is a lot. Like, for me, it was super informational. Like,
Yep.
every time I watch the show, every time I sit in the show, every time I do stuff, like Tony, I tell you all the time, like Bill Wheeler, I think was one of the greatest guests because I learned more on that when he was on here for what 82 minutes or something, in that 82 minutes than I have in 15 years of cooking. Like the stupid stuff that you would never think, the little things that he'd be like, oh, don't do that, use a moving blanket, or no, don't put it on that type of board because that board designs that board soaks up flavor. You want to go this, or when you're changing this, or use this. Like, dude, everything that dude said, I was like, oh my God, I do all of it wrong, right? And then like Mixon shows up a week and a half later, and he's talking about fat cat, cap up, cap down. And I'm like with Doobie, I'm like, yeah, this dude knows what he's talking about. And then like he explains it, I'm like,
Poor Doobie.
Poor Doobie never lived that down. He's
Poor
still not.
Doobie,
It's still
Doobie.
too soon.
Doobie,
well,
we
no,
love
the
you.
thing is that I was with Doobie. I was 100% agreed with Doobie. Like, I was like, yeah, Nixon knows what he's talking
Where
about.
is
And he explains
Doobie?
it.
Let's get him on here.
Yeah, dude,
I-
hit him up.
Oh, he tried to call.
I honestly, that sort of dialogue to me is like the creme de la creme, right? I mean, because really, when you look at people's successes and when you look at their jobs and we look at their professions, you don't see those minor details that you're like, oh, duh, of course, why I wasn't doing that. You know, when you finally get to sit down and talk with people about what they do and how they do it, isn't it an interesting game?
Yep.
And the thing is like, I love hearing how people do things differently than what we do. I always like that because I always feel like it's so interesting to like see another way, another process of stuff.
And that being stronger than just cultural perspective, that goes into familial. Yeah. That goes into, your demographics and, just where you grew up. I think it is so beautiful. And I think this is one thing that I've told Tony before. And I think, Brad, you touched on this earlier, that, the barbecue community and or the cooking, community in and of itself has been such an amazing thing for me to see as an outsider. And I shouldn't say an outsider because my mom is literally a cook for Taste of Home magazine, but I'm just a taste tester. I don't participate. So I think from an outsider's perspective, looking at how food brings people together, and not only the food, but just the way it's prepared and the story and just the entire repertoire of all of it has just been so interesting to watch in that community. And like you said, you just, there's no secret in sharing because it's food, like there's just this different, there is this different society based around food that it is so open and caring and loving. And it really comes down to the nourishment that that literally provides us the life that we lead, and so when you think about, these people and what they're putting into their food and how they nourish their bodies and how they nourish the communities around them, it has just been amazing to witness.
Yep.
Well, the thing,
it's been a blessing. It really has been.
yeah, and that's the thing about like the barbecue community is like everybody always says like, well, Bill Gates can tell you how he built his billion-dollar company. He can tell you step by step, but that doesn't mean that I can go do it or Tony can go do it or Chris can go do it. It's all about the decisions that you make and the process along the way. And it's like, if you listen to some of these guys that, like, if you go up to some of these guys that run the KCBS circuit, just for example, and you say, hey, how do you do your chicken? They'll tell you how they do it, how they prepare it, what seasonings they use, how they cook it, how long they cook it, what temp they cook it. But that doesn't mean that you can do it the same way.
Nope.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's one of those things that like everybody's so the barbecue
I
in
think
general.
that applies to a lot to crafts. I mean, when you really
Go ahead on this. I mean, I was actually getting ready to segue into this to let you give a feed here on your.
There's a million things I
on
can
the
tell
arts and
Tony to do on the
crafts.
crafting front that will not help me.
But like,
I'm telling you that much. I mean, you could instruct a person going through. You could truly, give them every document of how you've done every single thing. But until you've been in and you've paid the dues.
describe the crafting community. Like, what's it like? We've talked about the barbecue community. I don't think any one of us really relate to the crafting community. Is it the same supportive community, or is it a bunch of like fickle bitches trying to get their money out there?
No, I mean, so you're just okay.
There's some fickle barbecue bitches. Hey, there's some fickle barbecue bitches. That's universal. There's fickle bitches in every community there is.
Now, to that point, you are going to have some in every crowd. You are going to have the craft teachers.
More or less.
No, I think it's entirely linear. I think that you are going to come across those types of people regardless of what niche you find yourself in. It truly comes down to those that want to expand the creativity and inspiration of others. And I think that when you look at businesses that truly want that, you're going to know, because they're the ones that are reaching out and that are teaching craft and that are wanting to, I don't know. I mean, you just know. I don't have to explain this. I mean, I feel that people are getting authenticity when they see it. And there's crafters that are, out and about, and that you can definitely tell they're for the dollar and for, everything that they do. And then there's also ones that are willing to teach.
The reason I ask is whenever you make an order through a crafting company, it seems like you're always getting hooked up with extra stuff.
Yeah.
Like you never get just what you order with the crafting business.
See, here's the thing. I went from outsourcing all of my products from Amazon and big companies, and I switched to, this was a recent decision, I think within the past 3 months, I decided to start outsourcing all of my supplies via small companies. Now, whether or not they order their shit from China, I don't care. What matters to me is whether or not I'm paying the bills of somebody within, a demographic similar to mine, just not having a big corporate business, and just making a decision in and of itself like that has changed even just the way that I do it, because they're willing to, again, get their name out. They're willing to send extra products just to keep me coming back. They're willing to, go the extra mile in order to make sure that I am taken care of and that I enjoy all of my products. They don't, big companies such as Amazon, I digress, they don't give a shit. I mean, did you get your order?
Not a single one.
If you did, great. If not, I guess we'll fix it for you. But there's really not that interpersonal connect that, is special when you're considering small business things and integration, so I guess having a business and also doing the content creation side of things has really shown me really, I guess, both sides of, how that works. And it's also made me respect those that have actually reached out to me and said, hey, we want you to do this for us. And I'm like, me? Excuse me? Thank you. Because I know that is an incredibly big decision for a company. Usually in the smaller aspect of things, but that takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of, optimism, because truly
it's a lot of added pressure too, right? It's a lot more pressure than you would normally have, because you're
putting everything on this
artist, right? It's like every time you do something, it's like a one shot. Like I need to make this perfect. Or like if I went to an event and I cooked and chicken was overdone and it's overdone. Like they were like, yeah, chicken was overdone. Who gives a fuck?
That's when you just
like,
Yeah, it's like smother it.
just blow it up and be done with it. Like
put some branch on
it.
Yeah.
That's actually this is one of the first bottles, so you can tell because the label's starting to peel off. This is super excited.
That's sentimental.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just that one just we couldn't sell that one. That was
Brad himself.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, she did not know that I had the first ever bottle of the first new label. Oh, he knows. There we go.
That's
I signed that bitch.
Special moments like this, finding the ones that are also invested in your growth and excited for your growth. That's
really, Alyssa, I really signed that for you, not Tony, but don't tell him.
I think we signed it at a Dano dig, actually, because I was like, F Dan. I think I told you to put F Danos on here, but you didn't.
But you didn't.
So, Alyssa, what are you drinking, by the way? I think everybody needs to know what Alyssa drinks and how she drinks it.
I do not like cocktails unless it's a margarita frozen.
Or if it's frozen and spicy from Ridiculously Good Salsa.
That too. Typically, I'm a warm bourbon gal.
Great.
Where did Vic
go? Right there.
Did you say warm bourbon?
Yeah.
I don't like it watered down. And typically when you put the ice cubes in, it gets watered down. And
so you like it neat.
Well, yeah. If that's the proper term, yes.
We don't do proper in this house, Brad.
If it's not on ice, I just say it's warm because it's not cold.
That's a legit.
That's just an infraction on my what are they? That's just my illiteracy on the whole topic because I'm truly newer to the liquor game. I was never a partier. I was never a drinker. So to go straight from that to bourbon, it's a bit of a culture shock. So yeah, I don't know the ins and the outs. I just know what I like. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's snobby. It's snobby. It's a snobby culture. Don't worry about it. Find something you like, drink it the way you like it. Everyone else can go free.
However you want.
I'm part of a snobby culture.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
it. Snob.
Oh, I can smell the oaky afterbirth.
Well, guys, Vicky said she's not going to be able to make it back, but she did appreciate being on here. We went a really long time here today for Cinco de Ohio. Brad, thank you so much for hanging out. Chris, thank you so much for hanging out. Hankie, Pankie, Arts, Crafts, and Oils, the beautiful Alyssa, thank you for hanging out. And thank you for putting our kids to bed so I can do this show without kids running around going crazy. And, you guys are all the best. Hey, cheers to a crazy 2022 coming up here.
I'm almost gone, but
you guys are all the best. Brad, where's the new damn beer? By the way, pull one out. Hey, on real quick. New beer can alert. Chris, have you seen this yet? The new Farmer's Edition? Oh.
The John Deere beer.
John Deere cans. Lou, they got the tractor on the
my
beer.
Question is, what favors did you do to get something so
That's a fair
released?
question, Brad.
I did not. Here's what I did. So
I'm sure.
my dad brought me down to your guys' house in Denison, and
you're gonna blame us.
Okay.
You're gonna blame us.
You're part of the success.
Okay.
So my dad brought me down there, and then Tony took me the rest of the way down to Marietta to get my broke ass truck, which was now fixed. And I drove from Marietta all the way to Ashland, Ohio, and I was like, man, I really have to take a piss. So I went into the marathon.
It wasn't Byesville, was it? It wasn't Byesville.
No, it was Ashland. No,
okay.
I stay away from the 9-2 tours.
Wow. What a bunch of bullshit.
I'm gonna explain it for
I will not. That is bullshit.
Am I supposed to know what that means? What does that mean?
No, Chris, you're not.
I'll tell you later. I'll text you. But I went into the gas station in Ashland to take a leak, and I walked out of the bathroom, and I kind of glanced over, and I was like, what's that green case of beer over there? So I walked over there, and I was like, oh man, John Deere for the farmers, so I had to buy one.
Of course.
It's the new farmer. You know how last year they did the corn cans for the farmers?
Yeah, they were
This
awesome.
year it's the John Deere cans with the John Deere tractor on the can. And I put this video on TikTok yesterday. I told Tony, I'm like, I'm just going to put it on TikTok. Well, like 19,000 views later on a stupid freaking beer can video.
Always the one.
It's always the one.
Of course. But
You gotta
yeah, so
consider the
that's
stupidest shit you put out there. Is gonna
Can we call it?
The point.
Can we call it the John Deere beer? I feel like that's just an
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to actually from here on out, John Deere beer it is.
Yep, and you saw it
Yeah.
first on the Dude Network.
So wait. Is Busch Latte officially being retired?
Until the John Deere beers are out, yes.
Okay.
The
Correct.
John Deere beers are out.
Because I hadn't heard Busch Latte.
I'm sorry. Until they're done. And they're done, then it's
Yeah.
Busch Latte.
I hadn't heard that term until just recently. So that was
You have lattes in the fall, so they're Busch lattes in the fall, and they're John Deere beers in the summer.
okay.
Okay.
Seasonal.
I mean, that's just math.
Well, I'm being
Yeah,
educated.
exactly.
Math. Well, hey, you guys are all the best. And girls, thank you so much for hanging out tonight on this special Cinco de Ohio. It's been an absolute, I know it's been a good time. We went this long for a reason. It's because we didn't even realize we went this long. I apologize to everybody that stuck around because we went this long. But thank you guys, everybody, so much. Chris, keep killing it up at Branch. Brad, figure out your damn truck situation, but keep killing it after that. You're the man.
It's fixed.
Yeah, for now. That's temporary.
$1,000 later.
Yeah. So with that being said, no, seriously, in all seriousness, you guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for being a proud supporters of the Dude Network, as well as Hankie Pankie. Can we agree that she's probably the biggest supporter because she gives me the time to get all this shit done and promote your guys' products. So thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. Until the next time, Cinco de Ohio, you all are the best. Later.
Later, dudes.